Well, it was still early in the season when Chris and I decided to head back to one of our favorite haunts, the Forêt, which is a little over an hour or so from Montreal. One of the things people always ask is, what kind of bike should I buy? What is a dual sport? What is an off-road bike? And part of the problem is where you're going to go riding. And for Chris and I, most of the riding areas are at least an hour or so from Montreal, which means you've got to find a bike that you can do an hour plus of highway, which is each way, which means you could have 2-3 hours of highway riding on any given day. And then you want to get to the trails. And whether those trails are some fast gravel or some kind of Jeep trails or even some single track, you've got to make a compromise. I hear lots of people saying, oh, the F800, the HP2, they're too big, they're not real dual sport bikes. It really depends on what you mean by that. And certainly for us, these bikes have worked fine. And yes, when you do get off-road into a trickier situation, it is a pain having a 500-pound plus bike. But when you've got to do 3 hours of highway to get to and from the riding area, having a big, comfortable bike sure goes a long way. I mean, I think the biggest consideration as to whether or not a bike is a dual sport bike is whether or not you're going to be afraid to drop it. Because if you're going to go out and buy any bike, and it's probably more apt to happen if you're going out and buying a BMW for $15,000 or $20,000, if you can't stand the thought of that bike falling over or getting scratched or potentially breaking something, then yeah, it's not a dual sport. But those of you who've watched some of our videos know Chris and I don't have any of those fears. So we headed down to the Forêt, and once we got near where the trail was going to begin, it was time to fire up the old GoPros. Here we see Chris was going for the Teletubby look. And of course, one of the problems with the setup on top of your helmet, other than looking like a tool, is that it's pretty hard to figure out if the camera is rolling, as opposed to my chin mount, which I prefer. You can just kind of dip down and take a look in the rearview mirror and see if the camera's rolling.
Are we good? Yeah.
I like the angle.
Pretty good, I think. I don't know, it was a little low last time. Should be all right.
Hit it!
So off we went, and for those of you who watched some of our other episodes, you might notice that Chris is not on his usual HP2. He dragged his old 1150GS out of retirement. We get to the first intersection, and Chris hadn't brought his GPS, so we weren't quite sure which way to go.
I don't remember which way we went.
I think it's coming up.
Not this one?
No, in about 800 meters,
So we decided to go left. Now these kind of roads are actually ideally suited to these bigger dual sport bikes. Not too rough, not too technical, and it is one situation where it's nice to have a little bit of power to slide things around. Once again, we weren't quite sure which way to go.
Me neither. Anyways, where are we here? That's north. So I guess we should be going north for a while.
So once again, with the help of the GPS and the voices in my head, we decided to go left again. And it was here that we realized that, yeah, if you keep turning left, at some point you end up right back where you started.
Did we just do a circle? Aren't those our tire tracks?
We go right.
So we decided to give right a shot. Now Chris and I had been down this trail before. If you look at an earlier video called the Wado Ride, you'll see it. But it looks so vastly different because of the improvements, we couldn't believe it was the same road.
That little pullover, that's where we pulled over last.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They've improved the shit out of this road.
I think they put a road in.
Oh, follow it.
Now there was still some sections that had snow, and you can see the side trails were pretty much still snowed in, so we had to keep to the main trail. And there were the occasional little washouts there just to keep it interesting. And then a bit of a fog rolled in as we started climbing into a little bit higher elevation, and we came to yet another intersection that we didn't really recognize.
Man, I remember these trails.
Yeah.
Because we went down every one of these.
We went up this one and it dead ended at the top of a hill or something, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was like a real fucked up intersection with tons of snow.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it really looks like they're going to be building houses up here very soon.
Or they're turning this into like provincial park, putting in all the infrastructure roads, and there'll be big signs with a big X.
Yeah.
No, it's still not a bad road.
No, it's great.
Nice.
Fucking foggy though, I can't see. I gotta take these off.
Well, I think that's probably still dead end.
Yeah, eh?
So it's got a trail sign, but it makes it probably for snowmobiles.
Oh, we can try it.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, whatever.
So we decided to check out one of the side trails that we were pretty sure still ended in a dead end. Yeah, and it was a little bit sloppier. And there was some decent little rocky hill climbs, which as usual on video, you don't even think there's any incline at all. But yeah, it was pretty, some of these were actually relatively steep. One of the advantages of being the guy that's following is you can kind of gauge by the depth of the other guy's tire tracks how mucky the route is ahead. This was one of the nice little rocky hill climbs. And at this point we'd switched and now I was in the lead. There'd been some pretty decent winds a couple of days before, so there was some trees down across the trail, and we'd run into a few more trees down later in the ride. And as expected, it was a dead end. There were some offshoots here that just were not doable on motorcycles of this size, so we just turned tail and headed back the way we came. Here we see Chris coming down behind me, that same rocky descent. And we got back to the main trail and
Holy shit.
decided to take a little break.
The complete lack of suspension is fucking hard.
Then it was time to look at Chris's 1150.
Hey, look!
Yeah.
Knobbies!
I find it's hard because the pegs are too high. I need to lower the pegs and the handlebars need to come up.
So you winched the dinosaur!
Yeah, that was a fucking workout.
Winched the dinosaur out of retirement. Today you are Joe.
Yeah.
1150GS
Except I don't have crash bars, so I can't drop it.
with burned out suspension. Well, here we are in the Fore Waro. Oh. Wave, Chris, to the camera. Anyways, here we are. They've done a lot of road improvements on this. This used to be more like a trail. Now it is a road.
Then Chris started hearing things.
That's just normal noise, eh?
That's quiet. Dude, that's as quiet as they're ever gonna be.
Well, it gets clackety. It's not right now, but like that noise that you hear, that knocking, gets really loud.
Yes, that could be the cam change tensioner too.
It could be, but
I changed the tensioner before doing fucking anything.
well, I'm gonna do the rocker arm end play. I'm gonna do that first as well. But anyhow.
Après-vous.
And then we were off again, and I think I convinced Chris his bike wasn't going to blow up, and I certainly wasn't worried about it. Then we came to a familiar spot, a hill that is where we were stuck on this trail in the snow the last time.
That's the hill that defeated us.
But there was no road to the left back then.
No, there wasn't. But that's the hill that defeated us. I walked up onto those rocks.
Yeah. So this is new.
Yeah.
Well, you want to try it?
I think we should try the road.
Yeah.
And we were off. And of course, usual here, this was actually quite steep, but you don't really get a sense of that on the video. And that's all she wrote. While Chris admired his handiwork, I decided
I should have stopped.
I decided to turn around and come back up and help him out. Now, whenever your friend is stuck or has a crash, the first thing to do, of course, is get out your video camera. Now, this stuff had the consistency of porridge.
There's a trench up there, I think.
Now that is how you park an 1150GS.
Nice. Good work.
Thank you.
So let's get it out of there.
I think it'll come back pretty easily.
No, it wouldn't.
So what do you want to do? You want to come back this way here?
Yeah, just roll it back down.
Now, this is where you get to see
Well, I think
one of the
it's the way I-
disadvantages of a 500 plus pound dual sport bike.
Okay.
Solid
And remember, we're trying to
That might
pull
have been a
this
mistake.
downhill.
Okay. So you want to drag the we got to drag the front around at some point.
Or the rear around.
Drag the rear uphill.
Well, you don't want to go up that. We want to go through the middle, no?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Swing it. Okay. Let's lift the ass.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait. Push from the front. That's not working. Hold on.
Okay, I think we gotta drag the front.
Drag the front around?
Well, or you want to just keep moving the ass in this trench.
You don't think we can lift it up? Okay.
Okay, run. Hold on. Okay, ready? Ready? Okay. You push, I pull. Yeah. Where's Joe?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Can't do it with the steering turned. Let's just pull the ass over more. Okay. I think it's time for power.
Yeah?
Yeah. Nope. Nope.
That is sticky mud.
Hold on.
Wait. Let me help. Hold on, hold on.
We move the ass around towards
More.
you. Okay, ready? 1, 2. 1, 2. There we go. Alright, get on that mother.
Front wheel's stuck.
And then finally, we were out of there. It's always nice after you help someone that you have that nice long walk back to your bike. So we got back on the trail, and this was all new trail that hadn't been there actually the last time we were down here. So this road was in nice shape, a little bit greasy, but okay. Now most of these trails aren't on the GPS, so you kind of look down at the GPS and try to figure out where the main roads are or where the few existing trails are, and just try to connect the dots. Sadly in this area a lot of them are dead ends.
Well, the trail that goes all the way through is to our right. So we could go up here, but I'm sure we've been down here.
That turned out to be a dead end, so we turned around. Chris took the lead here and noticed on this steep downhill that there was a tree down.
I don't think...
He decided to go down and do a little foot reconnaissance. And the ditches were quite deep on either side, so it didn't really look like there was going to be an easy way around. So we turned around. Now this is where you notice the difference between a little dual sport and a big pig like an 1150GS. Is even something like turning around on this relatively steep hill and trying to get going again can be a little bit of a challenge. And as soon as you spin it, you're stuck.
Uh-oh.
Usually I'm the one getting stuck all the time, so it was kind of a nice change for Chris to have the 1150GS along. So I went down to give him a hand.
Dig a fucking hole.
Alright, Bill. Let's get this fucker out of there. Hold on. Nice holdage.
Oh.
Now anyone who doesn't think dual sport riding is exercise hasn't lifted an 1150GS out of a few holes. And then we were off. Now we were kind of backtracking a little bit. There were some nice hill climbs on this road, perfect for the GSs.
Is this it?
Nope.
You want to try it?
Another about 5K.
You want to try this?
Which one?
This one.
That's where we came from.
Oh, it is?
That's the dead end we checked.
Oh, okay, alright.
Here we hear Chris with that Remus pipe on the 1150GS and the sewing machine F800 stock pipe. Now we came up behind some guys in a truck, and whenever we do this, we always try to hang back a bit, and usually they'll see us and slow down and wave us by. We try not to blast by them in a hail of gravel. Sometimes you gotta hang back there for quite a while because these guys are out in the woods and they don't really think anybody's around. And then when we do pass, we usually like to give them the little wave and not put on a huge display of speed until we're kind of around the corner. Keeps people from being pissed off and complaining and getting more trails closed.
I think you're good. Yeah.
And just when we thought we'd found the trail out of there, we came across another fallen tree. And we didn't want to play lumberjack, so we just decided to turn around.
Yep.
Some nice boggy sections, and Chris choosed his way through. Barely made it on the old 800. The 800 really seems like it wants to spin the rear tire more than the HP2 or the 1150. I think they have the heavier flywheel or something, but I do notice it. As soon as you get on the slippery stuff, it'll just spin and dig itself a hole in a second. As usual for one of our rides, we never quite know how it's going to pan out. We have rides where we end up on a single track in the woods getting stuck for hours. It can be gravel roads and kind of tracks like the ones we're on today. It can be all highway, and maybe we'll just end up bombing around on the twisties. So that's another reason why, the bikes we've got here work out really well for that, because it's not a sport bike, it's not a motocross bike, but if you're not really sure where you're going to end up and you really want to be able to go pretty much anywhere, they're a really good choice.
It's real easy when I see you go, whoa! I go, oh.
Slow down.
So after a few minutes, we got back on the road. This was actually turning out to be one of those nice rides where nothing seriously bad has gone wrong and you're just kind of in the groove and riding along and enjoying the scenery. And Chris was up front quite happily zooming along, and I always prefer in a way to be the second in line. It gives you something to look at and the guy in front of you breaks trail. That also means I can pick up the parts of Chris's bike that fall off, which is always nice. Little side cover from 1150GS. And of course, if Chris is going to start dumping parts, he usually likes to dump more than one thing on the trail. So it wasn't soon after that I found his little luggage bag. This is where that XPC racing seat with the 1.5 inches of extra foam makes bending over a little tougher. By now, Chris had kind of figured out something was wrong, so he turned around to come back and saw me heading the other way.
Guess that wasn't quite secure enough.
Now, Chris has a long history of dropping shoes and gear on the trail.
Anything else?
Oh, I think that's it.
So with his
You better get on that interway.
stretched out bungee net. He got everything secured, and off we went.
I think I'll stay back here.
And we didn't get too far before we had to stop again, so Chris could keep his Gore-Tex liner from falling into the rear wheel. A quick check of the GPS, and we were off. And that was pretty much it for the ride. We got out of the park shortly after that. It started raining, and we headed home. I know a lot of our rides, there isn't any huge calamity, disaster. Nobody's bike broke down. There was no crazy water crossings and no flooded bikes. And sometimes it's just nice to go for a little ride and get home without any huge drama. And for those of you who have sharp eyes, here you can get a good look at Chris's PIN number for his credit card. And so ended another ride of the Awesome Players Off-Road Motorcycle Club.